Hello and welcome to Frank's School. 93rd day. This is the second day that I'm going on with the guided viewing of Simon Schama's History of Britain. Beginnings is the first episode. And I asked you to stop there, 26 minute, 45th second, and I would say to go about there today. I'm going to do this in two, there'll be a cut because I'm going to erase the board. And I got to be careful that I don't take too much time. I really don't want to do that, so I'll go fast. First of all, why am I doing this? Well, in my mind, in Frank's School, I would like to prepare good English teachers. That's what I was prepared to be, an English teacher. As it turned out, I became a humanities teacher. Just as I think English teachers should know the history of England. And another thing, Americans don't naturally tend to know this. America is only a little over 250 years old. And of course the government and the schools, the public schools, are very careful to make sure Americans know American history. But what about European history? Well, world history, it's included in the curriculum somehow. But if you want to understand European history, I think England can be like a handle to make all of that vast material manageable. So it's sort of a handle on European history. You could do that via Germany, but I think that would be very complicated. By France, by Spain, certainly by Italy, maybe Portugal. But since we speak English, I'm speaking English, this seems to be the natural way to get the handle on it. You just have to be a little careful that you don't get stuck in England and Britain and the British Empire, because there is all of that European history too. All right, of the stuff that you're going to see, 79 AD, Mons Graffius, I think that was right, Graffius. That's the battle where I looked this guy's name up, and I have it now. That's what I wrote down. Let me see how it was spelled. Calgacus or something like that. Oh, I should have written it on here. There it is. Calgacus. I wrote it like that because Calgacus, because I really didn't have any idea. I just wrote down what I was hearing. Tacitus, I looked him up too. He's a very important historian, and I'm not going to try to tell you all this stuff. Mostly I'm giving you the proper nouns if you want to search it. Another thing I could tell you, that there is so much material here that I could easily imagine a virtual competition, and it's among students, and it's so interesting. All right, which student wants the most to present what he has found out about Calgacus or Tacitus or this battle? Now, that anti-imperialist speech, which apparently most people think Tacitus wrote it. It's not actually what Calgacus said. I did want to quote this. I found this so interesting. Defended by our remoteness and obscurity. Had been a defense against the Romans. Like, who cared? They're so remote, they're so obscure. And then about the Romans, they make a desolation and then call it peace. Boy, I just can't help leaping to the early 20th century when I see that. Free Caledonia is referred to, and that's sort of a call for an independent Scotland. All right, I'm going to erase this and come back. I'll be right back. Well, I'm back. Mons Graupius was that battle, AD 83 to 84. I did find that. All right, where I'm going to ask, or the next thing that you see, I guess I'd say, is Hadrian's Wall. Well, it's 73 miles long. It was built in the 2nd century AD. He'll tell you that. My parents went to visit it and bought as tours and brought me a pamphlet about the building of the wall, which I suppose I could find it. I just didn't take the time. In connection with that, he's going to talk about the Vindolanda tablets. Boy, that's just by chance that I found out how to spell that. I had never heard of them. They were discovered in 1973. That was 5 years after I was out of college. In 2010, I read that they've been published, and I say, wow, how personal. A glimpse into the life of the Romans, or the Romano-British, and he'll talk about the Romano-British. Now, you know, I'm not a badly educated man, but it was late in life that it really sunk into me that Britain was Roman for a long time. I don't know why that would not have sunk in, because I'm sure I read it. I should have known that. But England was part of the Roman Empire. Well, he's going to go on to Bath, England. In German, Bath is Baden. And you hear that name Baden, you hear that in so many cities, Wiesbaden or Baden-Baden. It's a bath. It's usually a warm spring. And the Romans, boy, they were good at finding them. There's hot water there. I've never been to Bath, England. I'm not sure if I'll ever go. But it's interesting, real interesting to me. By the 4th century AD, he's going to talk about Portchester, I think that's right. But I wanted to point out that Chester, there's Winchester, Colchester, Manchester, Lancaster in Pennsylvania came from Chester. These all come from the Roman, the Latin word for camp, if it's got that in there. 410, Algarith the Goth, he sacked Rome. And then, as Schama explains, this was not, he says, it wasn't like Hong Kong in 1997, where all of a sudden the British turned over authority. I had not really thought about that. Well, I sort of knew that, but the legions were withdrawn. But that Roman lifestyle was so sweet to so many, they tried to hang on to it, as he explains. Anyway, that's when the sovereignty was turned back over to Hong Kong. See, something like that, an American student is not nearly so likely to know that as an English student or a student in the British Empire. Housestead. Took me a while to get that one too. That's not exactly what I was hearing, but Housestead is a Roman place. And notice the straight lines. Notice the straight lines. I need to take a closer look at this book. I sort of skipped across it because this is centralist now. By the time that Rome had control, it was not pre-centralist. But, you know, the trades, industries, and professions, I really do need to look at that because I don't want to be stuck to pre-centralist. And, there was private buildings and shops. I'm going to read into this. But one of the things I got looking for, how I came across that, was because it took me a while to remember where it was too. In this little pamphlet, I remembered that there was this picture, and I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a straight line going from here to there, right across all these fields. Well, that's a Roman road. The Romans were in the business of connecting their centers of power. Straight lines. It's like they had the kilocalories available, really, to some extent ignore the landscape and not work on contours and level, but go for straight. And they did that often. Not everywhere. Now the British Museum is mentioned. If you've never been to London, if it's your first time to London, or any time to London, I highly recommend it. The British Museum is an amazing place. I think I've only been there twice. I think now if I were to go back to London, I would go there again with plenty of time. All right, these two are cities. Lugo is a modern-day city, technically in Spain, but I think of it in Galicia. And my daughter Erica and I were there, and we filmed it. And you can find that in my Frank School under Details of Lugo. I'll find the link myself and put it in the description, or if not the link, at least the number. And why I mention it is because there you see those Roman walls. This is the only place in Europe that the Roman walls still go the whole way around the city. And you can walk on top of those walls the whole way around the city of Lugo, which Eric and I did, and filmed it. Conimbriga, I don't even know for sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Conimbriga. I don't know. I have not been there yet. It's near Coimbra, and it's a Roman settlement that I'm very excited. Shirley and Thomas and I are going to go there, and I'm excited to see it. Partly because it's a settlement that predates the Romans, and then the Romans took it over, and some of those things like those heated floors, hypocausts they're called, I'll be able to see them. All right, stop when you get to the Sutton Hoo part, and that is the right way to spell it. That'll be right about there. And every day I'm going to try to keep going as fast as I can because this is a lot of viewing. Bye for now.